Why men don't want to be with women with multiple children and multiple baby daddies. And some men say they don't want to be with kids. This guy, it was either on Facebook or YouTube. It was either on YouTube Shorts or Facebook. I can't remember which one it was. It was either on YouTube Shorts or Facebook. I was watching this. And this lady, she recorded her date. She recorded his reaction when she didn't tell him beforehand. We went to dinner and she didn't tell him beforehand that she had 4 kids and 4 babies' daddies. So she recorded his reaction to her telling him on the dinner date that she had 4 children with 4 baby daddies, and he didn't have any children. My first thought was, okay, how many baby mamas he got? But he said he didn't have any children. Um, so he was like, well, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me you had? That's too much for me. And they were going back and forth, and she recorded him. She recorded this whole conversation. So he said, well, I'm not. He proceeded to get up. He said, well, I'm not gonna. She said, you ain't gonna pay for my food. He said, no, I'll pay for mine. He said, I'll pay for mine. And he proceeded to start walking out, and she was recording this whole exchange. And they got out to the parking lot. She said, you don't think I was going to follow you? She said, you're not going to take me home? And he said, no, get one of your baby daddies to Uber you home. So hit me up in that comment section if you think that he should have at least taken her home. I think he should have at least taken the woman home. But he was like, well, get one of your baby daddies to Uber you home. And hit me in the comment section. You think that she should have told him beforehand? And I came in the comment section and I was like, yeah, I'll have to agree with the man on this one. She should have told him beforehand, before going out on the date, that that she had 4 children with 4 baby daddies, so he can make an informed decision. My thought is she probably knew he was going to turn her down, and she was hoping to wow him. That he would be so wowed by her that he would overlook it. How's he going to overlook 4 kids with 4 baby daddies? So it's unfortunate for her because because he was like, one baby daddy, 1 kid, 1 baby daddy. Okay, you made a mistake. Second, you pushing it. 2 baby daddy, you pushing it. I said thank you. He said the third, hell no, hell no. Fourth, hell no. So they were going back and forth, and she recorded this whole exchange, um, and my thought was, I said, that makes for a good video topic. Why? I said I had to go with the man on that one because the fact that he didn't have any children and she had 4 kids by 4 baby daddies, um, it's too much. I have to agree with the man on that one. The reason why a lot of men, don't want, and a lot of these men are saying that they don't want a woman with kids at all. It used to be back in the day, if you only had 1 kid, you had it made. If a woman only had 1 kid, she could snag a husband just as fast as a woman that didn't have any kids. No problem. That if a woman had 1 child, most men, well, that was no problem. But now these men are saying they don't want no woman that got kids. But then why do they bash child free women? But that's a whole nother video. Yeah, but now they're saying they don't want no woman to have no kids or nothing. But I still think you got a better chance if you only got one. Two, you are pushing it. I think it's rough if you got two, particularly 2 baby daddies. But a lot of times men don't want to take on all that. That's in a man's mind. You have to get into a man's mind. And women and men, we don't think the same. Men's thinking is different than ours. Men and women think differently. Our thinking in our mind, we're thinking in her mind, she probably thinking, well, you don't want to take on me and my kids, and if you care about me, then you should care about, we a package deal. And that's how women look at it. But in a man's mind, he's thinking that's too much. that particularly if he doesn't have any children of his own, he's thinking that's too much. He said, that's too much. You got 4 baby daddies. In his mind, he thinking, he don't know, out of the 4 fathers, he don't know which one of them might be baby daddy. Could one of them be baby daddy drama, or is one of the baby daddies going to give us a hard time? What type of relationship do the fathers have with these children? All those things go through that man's mind. I'm going to have to support her, because he was like, that's 5 people in the house. He's going to have to support her and the 4 children. Or he going to have to help support her and the 4 children. And to a man that don't have children, that's too much. But some of these men that got kids have the nerve to say they don't want a woman with kids. They got their nerve. If you got children, you shouldn't have a problem with being with a woman with children. You know, you can have the Brady Bunch type situation. Here's a story of a man named Brady who was busy with 3 boys of his own. There were 4 men living all together. Can I sing that on here? I'll get copyrighted. Till the one day when the lady met this fella, and he knew it was much more than a bunch. I do my operatic voice. It was proof how someone for the family. That's the way they all became the Brady Bunch. If you guys are baby boomers or Gen Xers, you know the Brady Bunch. Mike Brady had 3 boys, and the mama had 3 girls, and they hooked up, and they was one happy family. I mean, for the longest time, I didn't even know it was a step family when I was a kid. But that's what I'm saying. That's the way they all became the Brady Bunch. If you got kids, if you a man and you got kids, that woman got kids, y'all get together and be one big happy family. One big happy blended family. And there's issues that come with that as well. But that's a whole nother video. But I can understand why a man that don't have any children wouldn't want to take on a woman that has children, or just have one. But it's particularly for even a man that has kids, most likely would be like 4 baby daddies. Yeah, that's an issue, because they're looking at, okay, I'm gonna have to help provide for these kids. I'm going to have to play stepdaddy to these kids. I don't know what type of relationship these fathers have with their kids. Are they going to have an issue with me being there? Am I going to be bumping heads with either one of these baby daddies? See, these are, do you still, is she still, and then sometimes they be thinking that you still hooked up with one of the baby daddies. Like, a lot of these men think like that. They think that if there's a baby daddy or baby daddies in the picture, you still connected, you still hooking up with one of them. And it's like, you know, they be thinking that. They be thinking that. And they think, I'm going to have to help with these kids. I'm going to have to play stepdaddy. I'm going to have to do, I've heard men say that, that has dealt with that experience before, that they had to deal with the kids saying, you ain't my daddy. Then they've also had to deal with the mother saying, not letting him take the lead or take the head in the household. Because if I got 2 boys, let's say, hypothetically speaking, if I had gotten married when my youngest son was little, then I would let that man go on and lead. Particularly because my youngest son didn't have his father in his life. I would have let that man go ahead and play the daddy role. You know, I would have allowed him being my husband. I would have allowed him to go ahead and take on the full father role, because he would have been their stepdad and my husband. But you got some women out here that don't do that. You got some women out here will be like, well, these are my kids. You don't get to discipline my kids and all this kind of stuff. And they set boundaries, and they don't allow that stepfather to take on that fatherly role. You know, And I guess it depends if that child still has their biological child or their biological father in their life. If that child still has their biological father in their life, the mother might be that way. But I feel like if you get married, if you got kids and you get married, that's your husband and that's those kids' stepdad. And the kids, and sometimes the mothers don't require the kids to, like the kids saying, "You not my daddy." That's disrespectful. So the mothers are not putting their foot down. In some cases, the mothers are not putting their foot down and and letting those children know this is your father figure. He may not be your biological father, but he is your father figure, and you are to respect him in this house. So, and that's something that mothers, I would have done that had I got married. I would have told my children, this is your stepdad. He is the head. You are to respect him and do what he tells you to do, and stuff like that. But some of these mothers won't do that, and so a lot of men have issues. I've had read in blogs where men said they've had issues with the mother not making sure the children is having the proper respect for the father figure in the home. And sometimes, the stepdad situation works out. In some rare cases, the stepdad situation works out and the biological child sees the stepdad as their real dad, depending on at what age he came into the child's life. I think it's so many different variables and it's so many different situations. But when you talking about 4 kids and 4 baby daddies, I'm a woman and I'm like, and I'm team single mom. Y'all know I'm team single mom. I said it time and time again. I'm team single mom. But even I'm like, dang, sis. 4 kids and 4 baby daddies? Dang, sis. What happened? And I know I try not to judge because sometimes relationships don't work, pregnancies happen. you know um I try not to judge, being a woman myself. I try not to judge, but even I'm team single mom and I'm even like, dang, sis. But women, and somebody needs to tell the young girls coming up, when you go out here and you have multiple children by multiple men, if you want to marry, you are decreasing your chances of getting married because these men don't want to take on all that. And somebody need to be telling these girls this from a young age. If you go out there and you get different baby daddies, um, you want to get wifed up, your chances of getting wifed up is gonna be decreased. Because ain't too many men gonna wanna, even the ones that got kids is gonna be like, ooh, 4 baby daddies? You know? So no, because they trying to find a child. They trying to go knock up the child free women. That's what they trying to do. But even a child free woman shouldn't be dating a man. A child free, same goes for a child free woman. A child free woman shouldn't be messing with no man with multiple baby mamas. When I hooked up with my oldest son's dad, he had 3 baby mamas. Now, if I had any sense, I wouldn't have hooked up with him. I didn't have any children. I did not have any children when I met my oldest son's dad. I did not have any kids. And I was baby mama number 4. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of times they get these men with these baby mamas, they hook up with these child free women, and then you gonna be their next baby mama. And I just didn't have my head screwed on right, and I never gave that any thought. But I shouldn't have been messing with no man with 3 baby mamas. I mean, looking back in hindsight's 2020. I didn't have any children. I shouldn't have been messing with no man that had 3 baby mamas. And then I was baby mama number 4. Don't get set up like that. Of course, that's a whole different video. And so the same goes for a woman that don't have any kids. So I can understand a man that don't have children not wanting to date or marry a woman with multiple children. That is a lot. That is a lot. That is a lot to ask that man to take on. It is a lot, even with a man that has children. is not gonna want to take, even though he got his nerve, is not gonna want to. But I can still kind of understand in a sense, because that is a lot. That is a lot. He is going to be the male head in that house. And he's thinking, okay, I don't know if some of these baby daddies, if they violent, am I going to have an issue with any of them? Is she still messing with any of them? What type of relationship do these kids have with their fathers? And see, they're thinking about all that. They're thinking, and we're thinking, oh, well, if you love me, then you should be taking on my kids, love my kids too. We a package deal. That's how we think and how the woman is thinking. And the man is thinking, woo, that's too much. The man is overwhelmed. He's thinking of all these scenarios and these things in his head. Like, I don't know what the baby daddy's going to be like. I don't know if I'm going to be dealing with some baby daddy drama out of either one of them. I don't know what the relationship the child has with that father. And they're thinking about all this. Is she still involved with either one of them? Or, and he's thinking about all this in his head, and it's overwhelming. Looking at it from a man's perspective. But you men out there, you hit me up in that comment section. You signed off in that comment section, and let me know what your thoughts are on that. But yeah, most men don't want to take on a woman with multiple kids, with multiple baby daddies. And like I said, get these girls when they're young, and let them know somebody, mama, daddy, somebody need to be talking to these young girls and telling them, don't go out here and get all these baby daddies. I'm a promoter of abstinence until marriage, and wait until you are married to pop out any man's baby. Don't be popping out no man's baby and he ain't putting no ring on your finger. And I promote abstinence before marriage, celibacy before marriage, and baby, no ring, no baby. If he don't put no ring on it and can prove that he can provide for you and that baby, don't you dare pop out. Don't you dare lay it low and spread it wide. Don't you dare. And you keep it, you close up that shop until you get married. That's God's way. That's doing it God's way. Still no guarantee you won't end up a single mother, but at least you know you did it the right way. You know what I mean? So in that case, a woman has to think if she wants children at all, period. But yeah, but that's what I say. Marry before you carry. And like I say, women got to think about these things. If you know at some point you're gonna want to get married, women have to be more responsible with their bodies. At the end of the day, women need to be more responsible with their bodies. And there is multiple birth control methods out there. Should you decide to lay it low and spread it wide outside of marriage, there's multiple birth control methods out there. And I always say use 2 forms of birth control. The condom, you got to protect yourself against diseases, and a backup method. Because sometimes these men take them condoms off and try to set you up. So you have a condom and you have a backup method should you decide to have sex outside of marriage. Okay? There's lots of birth control methods out there, ladies. And I say it ain't no excuse for no woman to get pregnant. There ain't no excuse for no woman to get pregnant because you got too many birth control methods out there. There's too many birth control methods out there to prevent pregnancy. Abstinence is the best birth control in the world, first of all. If you don't want to abstain, there's all kinds of stuff out there. There ain't no excuse for a woman to get pregnant unless you're being irresponsible with your body. Okay? Because when we get pregnant, we get left holding the baby. 9 times out of 10, even if that father decides to be an active part of that child's life, okay, 9 times out of 10, unless y'all got a joint custody situation going and y'all not married, 9 times out of 10, you gonna be strapped with most of the responsibilities of that child. The woman Mostly everything gets put on a woman, and it's a higher chance if you have a baby by a man and you're not married to him. There's a higher probability that you will be a single mother, and that man is not gonna be a successful co-parent with you. You know, 9 times out of 10, you do got some men out there that will do 50-50 as far as the co-parenting, but that's rare. In most cases, the woman gets stuck with the primary responsibilities of that child, financially, physically, and everything. So we gotta pull these young girls to the side and talk to them. And you get pregnant by somebody, especially if you ain't married to them, this is what you're gonna be dealing with. You're gonna be left holding the baby, and this is what you gonna have to do. And this is what we need to be telling these young girls. I mean, we need to be talking to these girls in grade school, not middle school, but grade school, because they starting young now. And that's what needs to happen, because you know, like I say, women have to be more responsible with their bodies, because 4 baby daddies, 4 kids, 4 baby daddies. At some point, she should have connected the dots. At some point, like after baby number 2, she should have been like, okay, I need to be a little bit more responsible, protect myself. Decide, oh, do I want to have any more kids? I'm not married. I'm on my second, because after I had my youngest, I was like, okay, June, this is your second baby. You ain't married. Because the plan was, when I had my oldest son, it was just me and my oldest for 10 years, and the plan was to get married before I had another child. That was the plan. Well, I messed up. And I slipped, and I messed up and got myself knocked up with outside of marriage. And I'll say, okay, June, this is baby number 2, and you ain't got an husband. So I decided to lock it down. I decided to get them tubes tied. And people was like, well, you might get married. Nah, I don't want no 3 baby daddies. I don't care if the man is my husband. The third man is my husband. I don't want no 3. Did something happen and we break up, then I'm stuck with 3 baby daddies. And so I was like, no, I'm good. I'm just stuck. I'm going to stick with the 2 kids. Okay. And that's it. I'm done. I'm going to have to do the best I can with these 2 and Benito. I'm done. And I was not going to leave that hospital until they tied them tubes. So that was my decision. So at some point, after the second baby, the woman need to be like connecting some dots and looking at some realities here, and like make some decisions, So there's no reason to get in that situation. You know what I mean, there shouldn't be any reason to get in that situation, because there's too many birth control methods out here. Women have to be more responsible. We have to be more. And I ain't gonna, honey, I closed shop years ago, but women have to be more responsible for their bodies. There is lots of birth control methods out there, and abstinence is the best birth control method in the world. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are on that, guys. Especially men, go ahead and sound off in that comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. No single mother bashing. Don't bashing single mothers. You can let me know how you feel without bashing single mothers. I don't play that. I don't like that. No bashing single mothers. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Hit that like and share. And until the next video, you guys be blessed.